Hey everyone, how are you? Eyal here. Just checking to see if everything works. Hopefully audio levels are okay. All right. All right, so how are you doing? Eyal here. And I have an idea. So I wanted to be working on something. What I want to do today is I want to start doing some MIDI processing for something that is going to be a generic component that probably could feed either into like existing plugins, into something like Plugin Buddy that would do hosting, or into a synth. I might actually try it with a testing synth right now. So yeah, so I'm going to be sort of explaining what I need, but this is basically going to be a few different modes for MIDI processing of live keyboard, right? So there's going to be a few things there that basically change the mode of how you play. So the idea is that, for example, one of these is going to be similar to something that Oral Lubyanika and I have done for the Bass Slapper and Bass Fingers plugins, as in it's going to take the keyboard and switch it into different strings, which will have different, could have different sounds, different elements of sound into the strings. So that's going to be one thing. I might do something that deals with voices in different ways. So that, for example, maybe there's an area of the keyboard that plays polyphonically, but another that plays mono for something like like hold a chord but then have a melody on top. So there's going to be like a few different modes there that basically affect your keyboard and kind of output the MIDI into the sound instrument in a different way. And then I'm going to start dealing with hosting and stuff about the actual sound aspect. So yeah, let's see what I'm going to do. So first of all, I'm here in the Modalix code base, and I'm going to start a new project. I might make the sound be softer here because I'm hearing some music in the background that I can't send you. The music I'm hearing is really good though. Just was a bit distracting when it was this loud. All right. As I will say, I'm streaming this on multiple platforms, so feel free to comment if you have any questions, and I'm going to bring it up on screen. Some people are watching this on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and so on. So feel free to comment if you have questions, and I will try to explain what I'm doing. So let's get into this. So here, the way the Modalix code is structured. Oh, let me move my myself out of the way. Right. So the way it's structured, I have this thing called prototypes. That's just is something that's using our library, but has all these different different little like testing plugins. I'm just gonna make a new one. Let's see what's the simplest one. Harmonizer, MIDI pulse gate. That's probably a good one. What else is here? Multi-octave mapper. That's probably going to be good. Multi-octave mapper probably needs to actually go into this project as well. Like it's one of the cool modes. Yeah. So let's grab this as a template. Let's make a new prototype. Let's call this. I'm going to call this something like string MIDI. I don't really know if this is even what it's going to do, but this would be like an initial name for this. And then I need to go to my main CMake and do something like set build string MIDI. True. I don't need this. I don't need this. I need this. Okay, so let's call string MIDI something like string MIDI. And let's give it some random plugin code like SRMI. Formats, it's okay. Set default settings, blah, 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 blah. These all look pretty good. Let's see what else is missing here. Oh, bundle ID. So my bundle ID needs some correction or something because company name is Alamir. Let's do Modellix. Or I can just do Alamir just because the bundle ID won't go crazy. Okay, that's good. So let's keep discussing what is that I could be doing here. So I want to see if I can build something. There should be a built-in synth here. Let's just run the synth without the MIDI processing, see that it plays something. So this will just play a few notes, or allow me to play notes with like a testing synth. The idea is there should be multiple playback engines eventually. There could be multiple plugins. There could be multiple instances of the same plugin. There could be this testing synthesizer, but with different settings to it, so that strings, for example, would take my MIDI and based on some logic, like the intervals, the state of the position or something, they would decide what to do with the actual playback engine. They would kind of reroute the engine. And we can decide of different multiple logics. Like one cool logic is have each note go to a different instrument. Or maybe there's a range splitter. That's like the easy stuff. But the more complicated modes would have some sort of state where it's going to keep a state of what happened before and going to make a more informed decision about node dispatch. So let's see if that works. Okay. Let's connect my MIDI keyboard. Oop. Probably because I'm streaming with some things get crazy here. Let's try this again. Okay, choose my keyboard. Okay, so hopefully you're hearing this. Okay, great. So it's some sort of a saw wave, or sorry, a square wave that's enabled here by default. Good. So I have some basic tests. I can, instead of doing processor base, I think I have something more modern than this. I should be able to do something like I think if I'll do it like let's look at one of the other plugins. There should be a more something better here, basically. Here it is. Plugin base state. Something like this should work, right? Or that's what I'm usually using. Let's see what I'm using exactly for our actual plugins. Like, let's go to the code for something like Beat Scholar. Beat Scholar is going to be using Beat Scholar Audio. Beat Scholar is using something like Plugin Processor. I think that's probably what I should be using. And I'm usually using the namespace of audio plugins. Okay, that's a good idea. Let's do that as well. So something like namespace, audio plugins, and inherit from plugin processor. And this is something like plugin state. Yeah, just default state. We're probably going to have the state be populated pretty soon with information that is shared between the processor and the potential UI. If the UI is going to be needed here, I probably can remove this because all this stuff is actually already handled. Then the CVP file, just this, and this should, for now, just return let's change the name of this class. Let's call it string. I'm going to call this processor, and then I'm going to call this string MIDI, so that they'll have a namespace for all my shared stuff. Good. Now I have the synth. I don't need this. I might need this. I might need to say if it produces MIDI, because that might not be the default. And then I don't need anything in this constructor. I don't need anything here. That's good. Oh, what did I screw up here? It's interesting. It's probably something to do with the old version of the preset system that was embedded a second ago. Probably should protect against it. It's annoying for development. Alex. It's not here. String MIDI. So where's this loading this thing from? Oh, where did I create this? String MIDI. Oh, because it's a yellow mirror. It's not. It doesn't say modalics. Let's make it do modalics. Let's be better. And then there should be something here with an example. Specifically, I need this plugin code. I think that should solve this. Okay. Okay, so I don't need all these files. Let's I might need parameters. I don't need this though. Let's just remove this. I'm not gonna need all this stuff for now. I don't need this. I don't need this. Okay, this is much better. All right. How's everyone doing? Feel free to ask me questions about what I'm doing. I'm trying to write an idea for a MIDI plugin that would do some nonlinear processing over different processors or different synth or different plugins. Depends on some MIDI logic, which I would just start writing in a second. So I'm just going to say, so added basic. I don't need to change this because this is completely unrelated. So I just need to do a basic string MIDI project. Okay, so to do that, one of the first things I need to do is I need to have multiple instances of the synth. So here what I'm doing, and they need to have different, or at least something different in their parameter. What could be good is, for example, I could, the first thing to try, I guess, would be something like different filter settings or something. Do I have a synth that has a filter already, or is this, or I just have this raw synth thing? Yeah, so the first thing I need to do is I'm going to very quickly, hopefully, I'm going to write another test synth because I need something that has more, a little bit more parameters than this. So I'm going to start with that instead of the test synth. I'm basically going to duplicate something kind of like the test synth. How's this thing working, by the way? Test synth voice. Oh, okay. So the voice does this thing. Okay. So there's just some very stupid volume logic in here. And the rest just takes the oscillator from the sine oscillator class. It's not very interesting. Let me think. Do I have something better built in that I can just use? If not, I probably should have one, but yeah, so let's start with that. I'll start with the voice class so that I can have some controlled playback. So let's start with, let's go back to my code, not the library code. Struct voice, inherit from MP synth voice. Needs to implement a few virtual functions here. And I'm just going to copy a few things from the test thing. It's probably, oh, it needs this thing, this voice with ADSR. So I need the ADSR. This is something like num channels. SR block. ADSR needs a sample rate. no starter just needs to start the note, I think, right? No stop needs to, let's see what it does in test voice again. ADSR note on, and is that what I need? ADSR note on. I thought it's something better than this. I thought start note is actually better. Yeah, because it also resets, so that's probably better. Okay, and then ADSR note off. Okay, process should do something with the oscillator, so I should be able to have my own. Yeah, so there's already a plugin that you should be able to use. It's something like EA oscillators. Should be a library of oscillators for me to use. So really, I'm just going to have an oscillator and a filter here. You know what? I might not need all this stuff. Just remember that, don't I have something like this in Plugin Buddy? I might be able to use whatever, to just take whatever Plugin Buddy synth has. Let's see what it has. I don't mind linking against Plugin Buddy here. Yeah, I should be able to just grab the Plugin Buddy synth, right? Like, how difficult is this? Let's get a bunch of parameters. Yeah, maybe I don't need more than that, actually. Maybe this is fine. I could just use that. So let's just add Plugin Buddy here. Maybe this would be good. Maybe I could just extract this out or something. Because I don't need the UI of this really. Just need all that stuff that this is doing, right? Yeah, let's do that. So I can probably do that. Right, if I look at the synth. Yeah, I could probably just use that. Maybe there'd be a good refactor in general. So first of all, let's see what the Plugin Buddy is building here. Instead of writing a synth, it's gonna be more productive to do it like this. Oh, someone just told me that there's a noticeable delay. Like I wonder if by delay you mean delay between like audio and video. Is that what you mean? I wonder why. People watching on other platforms, are you seeing a delay? Let me know if there's a delay between my voice and the video. Okay, turn Plugin Buddy. Plugin it works, that's good. Okay, so I think I should be able to go here and do something like a Modal-X Plugin Buddy synth. We can call it audio because it's actually not the it's not going to have the UI on it. So usually I also create a state module. Let's start with that. So Modal-X Plugin Buddy synth audio. the header has something like like this. I don't need the sources. The dependencies are probably something like EA oscillators and EA filters and EA synth, something around that. All right, let's do something like, I'm just gonna call it, I think I'm gonna go state and audio, because I might split those two different modules a bit later. So the state needs to have just this. Does not need to be part of the synth anymore. Should not be included anywhere. And then this should include state synth.cpp. Should also tell it that it exists. So it's going to be something like Modalix plugin body synth audio. Okay, and now I need the audio itself, which is all these stuff. Modalix synth audio. Good. Let's remove it from here. Okay, this audio plugin needs to link. Actually, the state plugin would need to link against it. So the state plugin would need to link against Modalix plugin body synth audio. So that should make them be aware of each other. And then there should be something here with the factory of the plugin that creates them inside of plugin body. Plugins, plugin body, processor, plugin register. Good. So it doesn't know where the synth is, right? It's because it needs to directly include synth, because that's where it's from. The state of plugin body might also need to be aware of that. So the state class the parameters class. One of the classes should probably be aware of the oh, actually it might not. It might not be aware of it, because these are it treats it like a hosted plugins. So let's see, what else did I miss? Go to plugin body synth, and I think the audio needs to include the state in a probably cleaner way. Yeah, so I don't want to bring it plugin body state. I just want to give it. I wonder if it doesn't need AE oscillators here. I'll keep it here for now, and I think it needs to include state synth, because that should give it all the parameters and parameters class that it needs. So let's say they get this to work. It would be a good refactor in general. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the plugin buddy synthesizer, audio plugins synth. Wait, why does it need that? Oh, because the UI needs an explicit include for this right now. So right, so that's because I do need the state class for plugin buddy to bring that in as well. Does plugin buddy synth audio. I need to export that into the UI class. I think so. Basically, what I'm doing is I took the bud synth, which is included in plugin buddy for free. By the way, a free plugin. Check it out on the Modalix website. It's a plugin that hosts other plugins. Very, very cool. Does a lot of the things that I need for this theoretical project to emerge. See some of the testing level. Anyway, I just refactored it so that I can reuse it, so that I can go to my other project that's unrelated to plugin buddy and just bring up that synth, test things with that. So, because I think that synth does pretty much everything that I need. There's no need for me to write a new synth. I probably can even use like a generic UI that it would spawn for me. All kinds of useful stuff that I don't want to rewrite for this project. Oh, okay. That's because I needed to add a few more CBP files in here, not just synth, but also audio, oscillator, audio, voice. Okay, so this build, let's see if the bud synth is gonna load correctly. So internal, the bud synth, and it loads here. Looks good. I'm not exporting anything about the graphics here. I'm literally just using it as is. Good. So this is actually pretty good. I'm good. Let's commit this and say something like plugin buddy refactored synth audio into its own module for reuse. So that's good. Okay, now let's move back to my testing project. And let's go back to my prototype project. It's called prototypes. It includes string MIDI. And instead of linking to all these stuff, I can just link to Modalix plugin buddy synth audio. And instead of writing my own synth, which I do not want to do, I should be able to do something like it's going to be something like is it inside of plugin buddy, or is it just which namespace was this on? Plugin synth. I probably should change that. But anyway, that means just be called. If I include it now, synth. I need to change it so it's not called synth. So it's not in this namespace. maybe I'll do this change. So does the CLN let me refactor this? Okay, don't change files. Let's call this bud synth. Let's see if it can do that correctly, because I think that this is we have a lot of synth. There's no need to call this synths to could have a lot of meaning. Okay. Good. Let's do something like plugin buddy. Change namespace for the internal synth to avoid collision. Yeah, because okay, that's good. Now here in my testing project, I should just be able to do bud synth, processor synth. So it's not called prepare, it's called prepare to play, because it's actually a plugin now, right? So it doesn't need an amount of channels. I think it defaults to 2 or something, which is okay. I don't need to worry so much about that in the testing project. Process, but I think probably needs the state as well. Oh, it has its own state, right? Yeah, it has its own state. That's good. That's good. So what I can do now also is in the so that yeah, first of all, let's see if it plays. We'll play with whatever is set in the code as an init preset. So let's see what that is. String MIDI standalone. Oh, EA commercial plugins. Not EA commercial plugins. This needs. Oh, maybe it does need commercial plugins state. It is okay. Okay, so it needs to link against that. So I need to be explicit in the linkage. So the module plugin buddy synth, this thing needs to link against this as well. Okay. Good. Good. There's a synth. It happens. It's nice. Now I am going to commit this. Let's do plugin buddy synth fixed missing linked modules. Good. Now I also want a way to look at these parameters. So what I will do, how will I do this? Think about this. One way is I can just open a window. Maybe this will be the simplest way. I think I already have something like a, it's called something like parameters panel. I have something even better, default plugin window, I think it's called, or plugin window. That is what I need, right? So that just takes the processor. Yes, good. That's what I need. Oh, this is good. Plugin hosting, host window. I'm just gonna grab that, even though. Yeah, which module is this in? Show in Finder. No, why is it not? Was not showing this to me? Okay, plugin hosting. I'm just going to link against that. Probably need to extract that out of there. Yeah, so this should hopefully just work, and this should just show me the parameter, the generic parameters of the synth. Okay. Did it work? Did not work? This should load start the window. It's not starting yet. Oh, I need to call show explicitly. Window show. Is there a version in this that's not, which immediately shows? Yeah, I should just do this plugin window. Instead of calling show. I think the other one is more for things like plugin buddy, where we're explicitly calling show whenever the user wants to show it. But now I don't need to do that. Oh, here we go. So that worked. So now I have the synth. It's loaded in here, and I did this first of all because I want to see the parameters are working. So volume. Should be able to set a filter. Good. So this is basically the thing that I needed to test. So these are the settings for one engine, right? But by the way, do I really need the full? If I'm loading that class, is that a hosting class? It's not a hosting class, right? So I might be able to get rid of this hosting dependency, which I don't want to have. Yes. EA plugin editors. So I can just do plugin editors without the host side of this. So I did it because I'm about to have multiple synth playing, and they should each have a different sound, and then we're going to start setting up the actual MIDI logic here to control this. Our library is so nice. Like, there's so much crap that was just that I did not have to deal with because our library just took care of so much boilerplate. You know, another synth, the window, debugging stuff, presets. It's all taken care of here. I don't need to worry about that. I can just work on my actual thing. That's good. Okay, so that loaded. Let's see the other thing. That's good. All right. I'm gonna move this to the CVP file. Let's commit this. String MIDI removed hosting dependency. Okay, that's good. Now, let's start to do something interesting. So what happens here in this process block function, I can probably also change this to be called buffer and not audio buffer. I have a shortcut, just some OCD type stuff, buffer. Okay, so before the synth, I want to do some, let's call it corrections on the synth. I want to create MIDI logic. So let's start by having more than one and configure them in some way. And I'm going to write some raw logic, and then we're going to deal with it in like a clean way. So let's start by doing, I want to do 4 of these synth. So I'm going to do something like a struct. And I might not even need the window for now. Just remove that. Let's call it struct synth. This synth. No, I need one. I basically need a vector of synth. I can just do a vector of synth. So let's do something like vector of synth and call it synth. For now, this should be okay. And then I'm just going to initialize each one with a different one. So for synth. I also think a synth might not be additive. Yeah, so I need some like I think the synth might be erasing what goes in it. It might not be adding. Yeah. So I need with something a bit higher level above that. It's going to be something like struct synth just all the synth. It's going to have 2 functions. One is going to be void prepare, double SR int block. Go through all the synth and prepare synth prepare. This might not work. I might need a let's make this an array for now. Array. So otherwise I might have, it might not let me copy this around with or move it with the regular vector semantics. So SR block, void process, no accept, accept. There should be a buffer float synth buff here. Synth buff should be resized, set size with 2 block. Then synth, let's call it synth sub equals buffers. Create sub from the buffer and the buffer and the from the synth buff and the buffer get num samples. It goes to each of the synth. So and for now I'm just going to let them, but this will do other stuff in a very shortly. But now I'm just going to layer the synth one after another, which is not going to be very interesting. Yeah, but anyway, what it's going to do is synth buff. Oh, not synth sub. Clear. Synth process. Synth sub and MIDI. And then it's going to do buffers mix from the synth sub back into the buffer. So each one is going to get a clear buffer. The synth is going to have its way with it. Then it's all going to be mixed together, which is might not be what we want to do at the end, but would allow us hopefully to test this works. I think that's it pretty much. So it's going to process the same MIDI, which is not what we're actually going to do, but very soon might be what going to be a version of that. So synth, it's good. Synth process buffer MIDI. Synth prepare. I don't need the for loop. Good. So that's basically what this works. And so, but right now, all I'm going to hear is basically the same synth amplified by 4. So I do want to do something so that I'll hear a difference between the synth. Because they're basically going to be layered right now, which is, I guess, a mode we should also add. Just a straight up layering of different synth. But if I just layer this, I would need some control. So for some control, yeah, I can. I should just be able. Let's just bring up the window. This will let me test that this basic thing works. So I'm going to do something like a single synth, and the single synth is going to have a combination of the bud synth, and plugin window synth. This is just for the test really, but there might be additional things in here pretty soon. So this can do prepare double SR and block synth. I don't even need to do this. Let's just keep these for now. Single synth. So this is going to have a single synth. This is going to be synth.synth. That's so that will have the window as well. So let's see if that works. This should give me a layer of 4 synth, just overdubbing the thing, and should also give me 4 windows to control this, to control the different synth. So it's good. Yeah, so I got 4 windows. I'm going to move them to this monitor. This is 1, 2. It's going to be annoying if I have to keep moving this all the time. I don't know why it always opens up on the other monitor. Anyway, let's see what happens. Okay, so this is the first synth. Let's make it, let's give it some something else, like a square. Right? Right, this is a saw, so I'm just gonna mix it in with a different filter. Let's make it, give it like a noise. So, oh, what else is open here? Oh, I'm also hearing this, the other oscillator, right? I got key tracking here. Beautiful, beautiful noise. Okay, good. So the layering works, and I don't want to deal too much with the layering. But the idea is that this is like the basic scheme, layers things. I got the window just to see that this works. I might need to add additional things in here. I probably want to, I'll do some manual code configuration here because this would be annoying if I have to keep doing that. But really what I want to do, I probably want to start them with the same, because I don't really want to layer them. What I want to do is I want to have some, what I would probably, what I'm going to do internally for now is I'm going to just split them by MIDI channel. And the actual MIDI channel splits, it's not going to happen with my keyboard. It's going to happen with the code. The code is going to do the MIDI channel splitting. So this is going to be like an internal way to communicate. So let's do, how am I going to do this? Then let's think. So how am I going to do this? What I'm going to do is I am going to say that, because I probably need to filter this a separate buffer for each synth. What's the best way to do this? I should have something like a MIDI channel filter now. MIDI. No, I don't have a channel filter. Filters channel or something. No, I never wrote this. I thought I did. Well, we can write this right now. It's gonna be good. So it's gonna be unrelated to this. It's gonna be something like EA MIDI. It's gonna be called channel filter. Just gonna do something like int channel equals 1. And the idea is that this is, I'm going to call like a single channel filter. Like the idea is that this only takes the messages from a single MIDI channel and only processes those. So all it does is it has this thing called process, takes some MIDI, takes a MIDI buffer. And it also needs this thing, which is going to be temp buffer, like a pre-allocated buffer temp. And what this does is temp clear O2M buffer message get channel. So like O2 message equals M get message, and then if the channel equals to the channel that we're looking for, then add event message sample position. So just add that. Otherwise, do nothing with it. And when we finish, just do temp swap with. You know what? In this case, I might even not even need the temporary buffer. I can just use the temporary buffer. I don't even need to swap this. So I just need to copy this, and yeah, I can just have it a const and never touch this original buffer. And then this is just going to give you an output or something. Temp buffer output. Yeah, let's start with that, and let's do something like a single channel filter. Give it an int channel to use equals 1. Make it simpler to use, I think. Right? No, you know what? I'm just going to do something like that. I'm just going to have it. I don't even need to store this. I'm just going to pass this in channel. Maybe better. And have more state in this class, and then I can. Yeah, so for each of those, I can do a filter or channel filter. So instead of giving directly the MIDI, what I'm going to do is I am going to, instead of doing this for loop, I'm going to do an int index equals 0, index smaller than synth.size, index, and channel filter process. MIDI index plus 1 because there's an offset here. I don't know why Juice did 1 based indexes for the MIDI channels. Should have been 0, but whatever. Boring detail for me to remember. All right. This would do, sorry, some urgent things are happening. Trying to think of what is. Right. Okay. All right, saying I can use const here, which is probably good. Yeah, so this should work. Let's see if I'm correct. What this should do, just for this test right now, is that I should only hear basically 1, because all my many messages are going on 1. And then I'm going to add logic before this goes into the synthesizers to do something like, well, if this and this happens, move it to channel 1, this and this happens, move to channel 2. So I have no idea now what I'm seeing. There's nothing in the... Okay, that's good. So now I have the synth. I'm not hearing it because it's not channel 1. And this synth, I'm hearing. That's good. Okay. So string MIDI, added basic synth playback that checks plays different synth by channel. That's good. Probably to remove the window now and just give it some different properties so that maybe I'll start with different filter settings or something. How's everyone doing, by the way? Let me know in the comments if you got questions, if you're seeing this, if you want to know why I'm doing something. Yeah, just let me know. Anyway, so this is okay. I need to let me think. Yeah, I want to initialize with some values that would make some difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a constructor here. Synth 0 dot, it should be state. Synth dot state dot params, or so I can reduce synth dot params, right? So params dot filter dot cutoff set value. Yeah, so I'm just going to give it different values. Let's do this is going to be different places on the knob, right? So I have no idea what this is going to mean in terms of frequencies, but let's do 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully that's different enough. 1, 2, 3. So this is just going to initialize with different filter values. And to test this, let's do some basic MIDI logic. So the idea is that now the original MIDI buffer has something that comes in on one MIDI channel, but we're going to split it to multiple MIDI channels internally so that we can do something more interesting. So I'm going to start by doing, let's write this processor. Let's call it a let's do let's write note range filter. That's going to be the first one. Note range is gonna, I'm going to give it a range, start and end, and when it sees a note in that range, it's going to give it to that, to that output processor, right? That's going to be the first thing it does. So the basic thing is to see that we're doing something. So it's going to have a range, int note range. And it's going to do pretty much the same thing as the previous one. It's going to have like some MIDI buffer, or I have it MIDI temp buffer output. So to this, and this is something similar. So let's do process const MIDI, just MIDI buffer MIDI. And it's going to go through all the notes. By the way, there's some questions here which we have to figure out about all these splitters, about how do we deal with stuff like sustain pedals and stuff like that. So it's not going to be as simple for the real thing, but whatever. MIDI, if get message is note on or off, then if let's do keep ready that get message auto message equals this. If the match is on or off, then if message get note number, listen, I can just oh my goodness, I'm going to store the state. Let me think about this. Because I need two things. I need the range and I need the channel for that range. That's really what I need. So it's a note range. Let's call it 2 channel. Note range to channel. Basically what this needs is the range of select range, then int channel. So basically if the range if range contains this, then to start with clearing the output as well. Do I need to do this again and again? Because I need to. I eventually just need to. In this case, I might be able to just change this on the spot, right? Although I'm not sure it's going to let me. I don't know if I think this might be read only. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to let me directly change it with the juice interface. So I might need something else. I need to replace the output with the actual thing. So I just need at the end to do MIDI swap with output. It drives me crazy to work with this interface. I'm gonna change this interface to something much more ergonomic than the juice interface pretty soon. So contains node number, then message set channel. I don't like the idea that I'm not doing it all at once. Maybe I need already do something like a vector of those, so that it's going to assign each range to its own. Because I like the idea that this logic is going to be actually combined. Yeah, so I might do something like note range channel info or something. It's going to do something like range int channel range to use int channel equals channel to use in channel, and then channel to use, and then range channel to use. Order is reversed, and then make a default constructor, so it's going to generate all the other constructors for me. And then I can make a vector of I don't need to pass this. I'm going to have a vector of this. Let's call it channels. So for each of these notes, by the way, this is an interesting thing. What happens if the note completely doesn't fit? I think I want to clear that. So I only want to pass it in if it's in the ranges. So that I might also have a nothing range. Might be a good idea. So let's do right. So for each of those messages, yes, I'm going to start with this, but I don't love everything, almost everything about this interface, so I'm going to clean it up in a bit. But so for each of those messages, if so go through the ranges, O2 channels. If channel range contains message note number, then message set channel channel, and then output add event message sample position. And I'm just ignoring all the controller stuff for now, even though there's going to be some logic here in the controllers. This is just some test to see that I'm doing things correctly. So and let's just initialize with some values. So I'm going to do something like constructor, and I'm going to take the channels and place back. Let's do let's do create. That's one of mine. It's nicer. It's going to have, we said, range in the channel, so it's like a let's do 10 30 be on 1. I think the end is non-inclusive, so 30 50 50 70 and 70. Let's do 100. I want to make sure it doesn't actually cover the whole range. Let's do 90. I want to have some 2 3 4. Okay, and then the way I'm processing my plugin, I'm going to have it here, range to channel, and the process is just going to do range to channel process MIDI. Let's see this work. Like it should, because of the these values that I've set, it should, what I mean, so okay, so I think it wants me to have something like range in, or range, right? Because it can't assume what this is. Okay. All right. Okay, so this works. What I also want to do, just to make this more obvious, I want to make the sound a bit different. So I want to take this, instead of doing like this, I'm going to do the other way around. So 5, 4, 3, 2. So that means that as I go up the keyboard, I should hear a more dull sound, right? That's just going to make it very obvious what I'm doing, I hope. Or darker sound as I'm going up the keyboard. Okay. Let's just change the numbers here so that it's, because I'm going to, let's make the lowest one just fully open. This one's going to be like, this is like almost like keyboard tracking, right? But it's not going to be a keyboard tracking when I'm done with this. Oh, there might also be some keyboard tracking by default. So let's make it off. O2 synth. Synth param synth.params synth.synth.params dot filter key tracking. Oh, not 8, 0.8, 0.6, 0.4. Ooh. So starting from the second synth, something's not working. Why is that? What did I miss here? The lowest synth is working. The high ones are not working. Let's see why. When I am, let's see my filter. So I did go up to it. So which is the channel? Range channel 3. MIDI swap with output, that's fine. This looks pretty correct. Let's have a look at my my sounds. Maybe my sound is a bit off. Oh, maybe key tracking. Forgot how key tracking works. I think 0 should have no impact, right? Am I not right about this? Or maybe it's negative. Oh, maybe it needs to be 0.5. Let's see how it works in Plugin Buddy itself in the released version. So let's load the bud synth. Good. Oh, so it needs to be in the middle. Okay, so middle is basically nothing. The 0 is just reverse, so it was closing the filter too much. So let's do .5. That should make it more clear. All right. So you didn't see my hands, but I'm playing really low. Right, suddenly I'm going here. Okay, that's too dark. Okay, so the lowest notes are super open. Right in this cutting point, it gets darker. Right, so like if this would be a string, right here I'm going up, and then it gets all of a sudden dark. So it just routes to this other synth. And I think the top is just nothing. So yeah, so this is a good idea. This is the basic, like a basic router. Not perfect, but let's commit this and say string MIDI edit initial range router. So the range, that's obvious enough, hopefully. Didn't require a lot of understanding or a lot of thinking. But let's start to do something more interesting. Let me think about this. Really interesting, because I actually might need something that takes all the controllers, like sustain pedal, and kind of grabs them before this all happens, and then kind of gives them back at the end to all the synth, because probably, like, if I'm playing sustain pedal, probably all of them need the sustain pedal. I don't know if there's a way to, I mean, I could decide to filter some of the controllers based on the particular output. Like if I have a lead, maybe it doesn't need the sustain pedal. We can think about that. Right. So the other thing I wanted to try, I want to do something that I'm thinking, like, do I start this now, or maybe I'll get off and start another stream a bit later, because there's stuff I need to do. Yeah. So I'm gonna get off the stream. I'll start maybe another stream later to continue this. It would be a good idea, because I'm getting distracted. So thank you all for watching, and see you soon.